Art of Relationship Show is copywritten. No one is to use any portion of the show without express written consent from myself, Greg Dazinski, or the Art of Relationships. Thank you.
Welcome to the Art of Relationship Show. Greg welcomes live calls from listeners in helping with numerous marital and relationship problems. There will be no more tit-for-tat arguments. Greg gets to the root of couples' challenges in a rapid, matter-of-fact format, plus applies compassion and humor. Join in discovering how to improve your relationship and your own life. Listen, laugh, and climax. Greg is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan. To others, he's simply known as Detroit's Love Guru.
Hey everybody, I'm back. The Art of Relationships show. I'm back. Usually it is Monday through Friday at 12 noon Eastern time, but I've been fighting going on 4 weeks with this crap going on. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Hopefully I can get through the show without hacking and coughing like I have on the previous shows. So I try to take a little bit of time off. Excuse me. And want to talk about, you know what, are you considering a divorce or a breakup in a situation? And it's one of those theories I talk about as I sort of stretch out my collar a little bit. One of those situations that, you know what, are you considering it, and why are you considering it? And I want to get into this a little bit and being able to look at, and I want you to join your comments, your insights, and everything else down below. And there's a lot of people that divorce out there, and maybe it could be prevented, and looking at what is going on. And it's one of those scenarios that is the grass always greener on the other side. And finding out a lot of people are divorcing or breaking up because they're not necessarily unhappy. It's just they want to be happier. Now, is that being selfish? Is that being, you know what, searching for that unicorn dancing on the rainbow, looking at it as a, you know, a fantasy that they're not living in reality, about the realities about what's going on and about, you know, what happiness entails, versus being, I'm going after total happiness and bliss. And it's one of those aspects, and I think it was Thomas Jefferson that, you know, quoted about in the pursuit of happiness. And is it that, you know, happiness, is it actually, that's what makes you happy, is going after the pursuit of happiness? Or, you know what, will you ever be happy and content with what is going on in your life, what is going on in your relationship or your marriage, versus looking at, you know what, it can always be better type of thing. Now, I want to clarify, okay? That's what I want to get at. What are your reasons? What are your reasons about, you know what, wanting a divorce or wanting to break up? And are they legitimate reasons in your mind, okay? Meaning that, you know what, they beat your butt all the time, okay? That you argue constantly. There's no, you tried everything. You tried connecting. You tried counseling. And you're arguing. You're not on the same page. Yeah, okay, there's chronic cheating, chronic abuse, an addiction, that type of aspect. We all know those are legitimate aspects. But what about, you know, what about your decision that, you know what, you like each other, but yeah, you want things better? You get me? How many people out there have divorced because of those situations, or are considering a divorce or a breakup, and the relationship is sort of like, not that bad, not that terrible, but you want things better? And are you able to look at, you know what, instead of looking outside your relationship or beyond your relationship, are you able to make things better in your current situation, okay? And looking at what have you done to try to make things better? Or are you looking at, and I get people all the time, Greg, you know what, it should be just easy. It should be just, you know what, happen. You know what, like snapping the fingers. You know what, things should just jive, and you shouldn't have to work at a relationship or marriage. And I look at them and I'm like, what book did you hear that from? Who told you that? And I'm all about things flowing, and I want things being able to flow is, smooth as possible. But I also want to look at, what are you doing to make things better in the relationship that, or in the marriage that you're not getting now. Excuse me, here I go coughing again. Now, is it the part of the situation that your partner's not willing to grow or evolve with you? Not a good thing, right? Or that you just want different things, that you realize after so many years that you want different things. You want different lifestyles. You want different ways of being. Now, will that bring you happiness? And it's one of those things we can't predict, right? We don't know. I have a crystal ball up here, my bald head. I tell people I joke around all the time. But are you able to look at the situation to where, we can't predict, are you going to be happier in that situation? Are you going to be happier in that? In some situations, I can almost guarantee yes. If you're constantly getting, abused physically, verbally abused, getting cheated on all the time, getting disrespected all the time, yeah, you don't deserve that. Get the hell out. But I want to challenge you to be able to look at, are you getting out of a relationship or, divorcing because it's sort of mediocre. It's sort of mundane. It's sort of, boring. And I get that, okay? Now, is it lifeless because you're not putting any life into it? Or is it, that you're living as roommates and the passion has died and you've tried everything to rejuvenate it, to liven it back up, to try to reach for each other, to, bring life back into it, to bring passion, to bring romance, to bring, life back into the relationship, and it's just not ending. It's not going well. So you look at, what is the difference between self-fulfillment and the fulfillment of a relationship or a marriage and that type of aspect. And it's 2019, and it seems like a lot of people might be getting out of relationships, might be divorcing because of self-fulfillment. And I'm all about people being happy, okay? I'm all about people being happy, but you have to look at what is the difference between, being happy and being, fulfilled. What does that mean for you? That you don't want to answer to anybody, right? You don't want to try to, and I'm not talking about asking permission. I'm talking about asking, about using common courtesy, about using, general consideration for one another, that you just want to be free again. And it's one of those situations that if you want to be free, then what do? And why are you in a relationship? Why are you in a marriage? And it's one of those things a lot of people are going to use the same philosophy about, right? Well, you made a commitment. I made a commitment. Now, what does that commitment mean? What do you do to death do you part? And I know it's 2019. A lot of things have changed. And going back on the reason why you want out of a relationship or why you want a divorce. Is it because, you don't want to do it anymore? Is it that simple? Or actually, have you actually gone out in the dating realm? If you want to date, maybe you don't want to date, and look at how do you want your life different than what it is now in the relationship and or the marriage, right? And look at how different. What would change and upset your life? What would it be differently? Maybe your friends would change, right? After a divorce, would that happen? What about seeing your kids, not seeing your kids? Would you want to relocate? Are you looking at all these information, all these aspects that seem new and exciting to you, but what happens when the dust settles? I want to ask you, are you able to foresee, are you actually going to be happier, or are you going to live in regret? And we might not know. These are things I want you to answer and to dig deep with and to be able to unravel, is it, worth divorcing or breaking up maybe a good relationship or which could be better, and look at what are you looking for, okay? I want you to understand why you are getting divorced. Why are you breaking up a relationship that is actually maybe pretty decent, okay? Is it because you want just simply you're happy, but you want to be happier, okay? Or is it that, you know what, you don't know really what you want, but then why are you divorcing? Why are you breaking up? And why don't you try to work on things and try to settle and go after what you you want in your perceptions? There we go. About your perceptions about what the hell you want and what is a good relationship or good, marriage in your eyes, and are you going after it? Maybe your partner can't meet your expectations. Maybe they don't want to meet your expectations. But are you actually talking about what it takes to be happy and what you are not getting in the relationship or in the marriage before you call it quits, okay? I want you to have an idea in your own identity about what you're not getting in a relationship, and what is making it more stressful to be there versus to be out of the relationship. And we all know people that are going to be single their whole life, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't want you to be in a relationship or marriage because of societal pressures or that you should be. I want you there because you're happy and you're fulfilled. You're fulfilled emotionally. You're fulfilled sexually. You're fulfilled maybe soulfully. And that's why you're there. Nothing is perfect that you have someone to come home to if that's what you want. And seriously look at why are you getting a divorce? Why are you getting out of that situation? Why are you breaking up with your girlfriend or boyfriend? And look at the reality of it, okay? That you never will be fulfilled in that relationship. Okay, great, I get you. What does being fulfilled mean? What do you want to feel? And is it a reality or is it a fantasy? Again, it's not a right or wrong. It's looking at what does fulfillment mean for you. Again, a lot of people are divorcing or breaking up, not because they're not happy, because they're in the pursuit of being happier. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Again, it's very subjective, but you have to look at what is at stake and what happens if you destroy maybe a good thing and you find out the fantasy land is just that. It's a fantasy land, that there's always going to be issues out there. There's always going to be upset. There's going to be disappointment in any relationship you're in. How do you work through it and how do you make it better? Have you looked at that? Have you thought about that? So I want you to, dig deep and look at why do you want a divorce? Are there legitimate reasons? There's chronic cheating. I said chronic, okay? Emotional, physical abuse that's going on, that you two are just on totally different wavelengths, that you feel like you're on two totally different planets as far as how you want to live your life, okay? You need to do a legitimate gut check before you make these decisions because they're life altering, okay? So do the gut check. Like I said, I'm gonna stop the show or do the show short version of it because I'm still fighting this virus thing going on. But I want you to do a gut check and look at why are you wanting a divorce? Is it that you want to be happier? Great. But what would make you happier? I want you to do a legitimate gut check and what you're after, what you're leaving the marriage or breaking up with, and what you're going after. How that would make you happier. And I want you to get a reality check versus a fantasy land. And if that is the case, I want people happy, okay? Go after it. And I'm sure your partner isn't going to want to be with you if you're going to be miserable being with them, okay? So do a gut check, but I want you to do an honest, heart-to-heart, soulful search why you want to be out of a relationship. Go after it, okay? And do your gut check before you make any decisions, okay? Don't make it on a whim, okay? Peace and love to everybody out there. Everybody take care. As you know, my voice, it's gone. So peace and love, everybody. Take care.